She whispered, "It's just a phase," but the secret engagement ring said otherwise. I didn't even have to say anything. The second I saw the little velvet box in her bag, everything inside me froze. It was small enough to blend in with the clutter, buried under some receipts and lip gloss in the corner of her purse. I wasn't snooping, I swear, but when she dropped her bag on the kitchen counter and turned to answer the phone, it caught my eye. That soft little glint of gold peeking out. The way the box was perfectly aligned, just barely open, as if someone had meant for me to notice it. I picked it up before I even had time to think. My fingers shook, but not from excitement or joy. I had been with Nina for 5 years, and in that time, I had never questioned us. I thought we were solid. If anything, I was sure we were. And yet, here I was, holding an engagement ring she hadn't mentioned, didn't wear, and definitely hadn't talked to me about. The weight of it felt like it was pulling my entire chest down. Before I could even open it, she walked back into the room, phone pressed to her ear. She stopped when she saw me holding the box. "Ben, wait," she said, her voice a little too calm, too steady. She took a step toward me, but I took a step back, my eyes still locked on the ring inside the box. "What's this?" I said, forcing the words out. "Don't say it's nothing, Nina. What's this?" She froze in place, her face draining of color for a second before she tried to play it off. "Ben, I could feel my pulse throbbing in my neck. I wasn't angry yet, more like confused, betrayed. But she could see the look on my face and knew what was coming. She closed her eyes and sighed, as though the whole situation was some inconvenient moment she had to get through. "It's just a phase, Ben," she whispered, stepping forward now and reaching for my hand. "Really, it's nothing." My heart dropped into my stomach. "A phase," I repeated, shaking my head. "A phase? Nina, you've got a ring in your bag, and you're telling me it's just a phase?" My voice was rising without me even trying. "Are you serious? This is your idea of a phase." She stepped back a little, her shoulders slumping. "It's complicated, okay? I didn't know how to tell you." She turned away, her eyes flickering to the counter, to the bag, to anything but me. "It's not what you think. I didn't mean for you to find it like this." Histoire at the woman I had thought I knew inside and out. For a second, everything in the world seemed to blur around the edges, and I could barely register what was happening. A ring. The ring. Was she planning to propose to me? Or was it something else? Something hidden? She had said she wasn't ready, that she didn't believe in doing things on anyone else's timeline, but she'd also been acting different lately. She'd started canceling plans with me, and when we went out, there was this strange tension between us. I couldn't put my finger on it, but this made sense in a way I wasn't ready for. "I don't understand." The words felt like they had to be ripped out of me. Nina took a deep breath and ran her hand through her hair. "I'm sorry. I really am. I thought I could make this work without it being this complicated." She hesitated, then slowly, reluctantly met my gaze. "Ben, I've been thinking about this for a while. You know how much I love you, right?" I nodded slowly, but the words tasted hollow. Love didn't explain this. Love didn't hide something like this and brush it off as a phase. "I don't know what you want me to say," she continued. "I didn't want to keep you in the dark, but I've been struggling with this decision. I don't know if I'm ready to be engaged, but I'm not sure I'm not, either. I know that doesn't make sense, but that's where I'm at." And just like that, the entire weight of the conversation shifted. Her words didn't make sense. They didn't come close to explaining what I was holding in my hands. But there was something else underneath her confusion that made my stomach churn. Was she not ready to marry me? Or was she just afraid of committing, afraid of being tied down to me for life? To give you some context, Nina and I had been together for 5 years. 5 years of love, of moving in together, of all the things that should have meant something. She was my best friend, still is, I guess. But recently, I had started noticing that she was becoming more distant. She stopped texting as much, stopped making plans on weekends, and when we did spend time together, it felt like we were just two people in the same room rather than a couple. At first, I chalked it up to work stress or the pressures of life. She was in the middle of a big project at work, and I thought, hey, everyone needs their space sometimes. But then I started noticing more things. Little moments where she seemed distracted. Or worse, where she seemed irritated by me. As if I was the one in the way. We had talked about getting married before. In passing, sure, but we'd never had a serious discussion about it. I think we both kind of assumed it would happen eventually. It was the next step. We'd moved in together 2 years ago, and it seemed like we were just waiting for the right moment to make it official. But that moment never came. Instead, there was just this, the engagement ring hidden away in a bag, the quiet, uneventful admission that things weren't as simple as they appeared. I could feel the heat rise in my chest as the weight of it all finally hit me. It wasn't just a misunderstanding. It wasn't just me being paranoid. It was her avoiding something, avoiding me. And maybe it wasn't the first time. Maybe it was just the first time I caught her. I opened the box finally, and there it was, the ring. Simple, elegant, nothing flashy, but undeniably beautiful. It was everything I'd imagined her picking out for me, if she was ready for that kind of commitment. But she hadn't been ready for it. Had she? This wasn't a gift. This wasn't a promise. It was a maybe. Nina, standing behind me now, watching my every move, took a few steps closer, her voice quiet, almost pleading. Ben, please. I don't want to lose you. But I need time. I need space to figure this out. Please. It's not you. It's me. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw the ring at her and demand to know what she was playing at. But instead, I stood there, holding in my hand, staring at the small piece of jewelry that felt like the weight of everything wrong between us. Why didn't you tell me? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. The question hung in the air, unfinished, because I wasn't sure I wanted to know the answer. Nina opened her mouth to speak, but nothing came out at first. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and then said it. I didn't want to lose you before I was sure. And in that moment, I realized she wasn't sure. Not about me, not about us. And I was standing here, holding this ring, this symbol of the life we were supposed to have together, and wondering if it was all just a mirage. Part 2. I didn't know what to say. Nina was standing right there, her hand stretched out toward me, but she didn't touch me. She didn't try to close the gap between us, not physically or emotionally. There was this invisible wall that seemed to grow taller by the second, and no matter how much I wanted to break it down, I couldn't. The ring felt heavier in my hand now, almost suffocating. I started, but the words stuck in my throat. What was there to say? What could I say that would make any of this make sense? The woman I had been planning a future with, the one I thought I was going to marry, had been holding on to an engagement ring for who knows how long, and I didn't even know if she wanted to marry me at all. She looked at me, the same pleading expression on her face. But there was something else there now, fear. Fear that this might be the end, and I wasn't sure I could blame her for that. I didn't know where we stood anymore, and if I was being honest, I wasn't sure I wanted to know. Because no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't ignore the truth of it. She had been looking for a way out while I was here, thinking we were building something solid. I closed the box and put it back down on the counter with a little more force than I intended. I didn't want to hold it anymore. I didn't want it to be a symbol of what I thought we had. Ben, Nina said softly, her voice trembling. Please, just give me a chance to explain. You don't know everything. It's not what you think. I let out a bitter laugh, the sound hollow in the quiet of the kitchen. I don't know everything, I repeated. Nina, what part of this do I not understand? You've been hiding something from me for who knows how long, and now you're telling me I don't know the full story? You've got an engagement ring in your bag, but you've been avoiding me for months. I think I know exactly what's been going on. Her face flushed with shame, but she didn't argue. Instead, she took a step back, as though my words had physically pushed her away. Her eyes welled up with tears. I didn't want to hurt you, she whispered, choking on the words. I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't want to be the bad guy. You're not the bad guy, Nina, I said, but it came out sounding hollow. I didn't even know if I believed it anymore. You're just not being honest with me, and I don't know how much more of that I can take. For a moment, neither of us spoke. She wiped her eyes, and I tried to calm my breathing, but the knot in my stomach was still there, twisting tighter with every second that passed. I kept thinking back to everything that had felt off lately. Her distance, her sudden late nights at work, her excuse that she needed time for herself. All those things that now felt like warning signs, signs I should have seen but was too blind to notice. "I don't want to lose you, Ben," she said, her voice softer now, quieter. "But I'm scared. I'm scared of all of this." She gestured around the room, as though the apartment, the life we had built, was something she no longer recognized. "I need space to figure out who I am outside of this. Outside of us." Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. Outside of us. That was the real issue here, wasn't it? She didn't know who she was anymore, and I wasn't part of her vision for who she was becoming. For a moment, I thought I might cry. No, I wanted to cry. I wanted to let the anger and hurt out, but I couldn't. I just stood there, numb, letting the weight of it all press down on me. I finally looked at her, really looked at her. The woman I had loved for years, the woman I'd thought would be my partner for the rest of my life, was standing there, breaking apart in front of me. But I couldn't fix it. I couldn't save her from herself. "I get it, Nina," I said, voice flat, devoid of the energy it should have had. "You need to find yourself. You're not sure about us anymore, and that's okay. You don't have to keep pretending." She shook her head, her voice barely a whisper. "Ben, please. It's not that I don't love you. I do love you. I don't want to lose you." Her eyes were desperate now, the tears streaming down her cheeks. "I just need time. I need to see if I'm really ready for this next step, and I need to do it on my own. I can't keep running from myself anymore." And that was the final blow. She wasn't just questioning us. She was questioning her entire life, her identity. And I wasn't part of that anymore. Not in the way I had hoped. The thing was, I didn't know if I was ready to let go. But I also knew I couldn't stay in this limbo, waiting for her to figure things out. "I don't think I can do that," I said, the words feeling like rocks in my throat. "I can't keep waiting for you to come back to me, Nina. I've been here. I've always been here." "I know," she whispered, her voice cracking. She stepped forward again, and I flinched slightly, not wanting to get too close. Not knowing if I could stand being close to her right now. "I'm sorry, Ben. I never meant for it to happen like this. But it had happened like this, and I couldn't undo it. I couldn't fix what had already been broken." That night, I slept on the couch. Nina stayed in the bedroom, though I couldn't tell you whether she slept or not. My mind was racing in circles, replaying everything from a moment I found the ring to the moment she told me she needed time. I felt like I was drowning in a sea of confusion, trying to make sense of a future I couldn't see. The hardest part wasn't the ring. It wasn't even the fact that she wasn't sure about us. The hardest part was the realization that she didn't know if she was ready to be with me, even though we'd been planning a future together. She was still trying to figure out if I fit into her future, and the worst part was, I wasn't sure if I fit into mine anymore, either. In the morning, she left for work early, and I couldn't bring myself to say anything else to her. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know if I could keep pretending like everything was okay. I needed time, too, but I didn't have time. She'd already made her choice, whether she knew it or not. I sat there in the silence of our apartment, staring at the empty space beside me on the couch. The engagement ring that wasn't for me. And I realized this wasn't just a phase. It was the end of something I'd thought would last forever. And all I could do was watch it slip through my fingers.